everyone, welcome back to my channel. So Louis Vuitton recently had a price increase and you're seeing it about 2 to 4% increase in the United States. Now there are some bags that didn't receive a price increase at all. And I don't think that's consistent throughout the world, what bags got a price increase and what didn't. So as an example, I saw that in the North American region, the LV Diane did receive a price increase. But in Singapore, that price has actually remained the same, at least for the monogram. Now, although the price increase isn't as drastic as we've seen in previous years, I thought it'd be interesting to share my thoughts on my collection as well as my family's collection, so not everything behind here is mine, and talk about whether I think these pieces are worth it today if you were to buy it at a boutique. So the first thing I wanted to share was probably Louis Vuitton's canvas pieces, since that is what they're most well known for. So this is the first bag I've ever bought from Louis Vuitton, and it is the LV Neverfull. They do not make the Mirror Azure in the PM size anymore, so I believe it is only in monogram. But in any case, I don't think I even paid over $1,000 for this bag at the time, and now this is approaching 2,000, so about 1,900 I believe in the United States. And because of that, I just don't think this piece is necessarily worth it. I definitely think that you'd be better off buying this bag in the secondhand market. I do know that they added a pochette to the Louis Vuitton Neverfull, so my bag actually doesn't come with a pochette, but I don't think that justifies the huge price increase that was like almost double what I paid for. Now, don't get me wrong, this is the perfect bag if you ever need anything to dump stuff in. Like, this is the bag I probably will keep to when I eventually have kids and I become a soccer mom. The PM size is actually probably the least popular size, just because I do know that people tend to use the Neverfull for work, so they go for the MM or the GM. But I actually feel like the PM is super underrated. You know, before they had the really mini one, which is adorable, I actually found this bag really cute as well because it fit really well on my frame. It could fit a lot in terms of like a mini sweater, an iPad, you know, books. So I definitely use this a ton. As you can see, it's definitely well used. But yeah, I definitely think that if you're looking for a Neverfull, at least in the PM size, I would pass buying it at the boutique and try to get something at the resale market. Now, going to their other canvas pieces, I think one of the things people have really looked to in Louis Vuitton is their men's collection recently. Like, I think they've done really well in their men's collection. They have had a lot of innovation there, and I feel much less so in the women's side. So here are a few items that I've really enjoyed looking at when I've seen a few runway pieces in the men's side. And honestly, I also think that the men's collection isn't as subject to such crazy price increases as the women's is. And I think that it is a place where people can look for great deals at the boutique, I feel. Now, this bag, similar to the men's multi-pochette, is also a Yaya Kusama piece. I have to say, when it comes to Louis Vuitton special edition collections, I definitely think they're still worth it if you love it. You know, personally, I'm not a big fan, but my parents are, and so they really love this pattern, and so they did get it. Now, if you're looking for something similar to this, I do know that there's the On The Go. I still think that they're pretty much worth it because it is a very versatile bag. It does look very put together. I think it's less used than the Neverfull, so you are getting something that looks a little bit more premium and a little bit more high-end. In the United States, I don't think the On The Go has increased that much in price. I think it's about like less than 2%, and so I think if you're interested in the On The Go, it's something you should definitely consider because I think it's still pretty much worth it. I think once it hits like perhaps the $4,000 range mark, I would kind of pass, because I think that you could get leather pieces instead of something that's in canvas for that price. But I think if you're trying to find something that's a little bit different and you're trying to find something for work, I definitely think the On The Go might be a good option. And you can wear it in multiple ways, and I feel like they have better straps, whereas with the Neverfull, when it gets really heavy and you get to those bigger sizes, I actually don't think it's very comfortable to wear. So yeah, for the On The Go, I would still say yes. So moving on to Louis Vuitton leather bags. So I know the Capucine is something that they've been trying to market as their iconic bag. It's the equivalent of maybe their like Lady Dior or their Hermes Birkin. But honestly, when I look at the Capucine, one, it doesn't retain much value in the resale market at all. So I don't really understand how it's an equivalent to, you know, perhaps a Birkin. And two, I don't see much history in this bag at all. Like, unlike the history of, you know, canvas pieces in Louis Vuitton and its history with being like a travel bag or travel trunk company, I don't really see Louis Vuitton having much history when it comes to this bag, which is also why I'm very reluctant to say it's quite worth it. It's a very expensive bag that Louis Vuitton has tried to market itself. It's cute, don't get me wrong, but if you're talking about like an iconic bag that has a lot of history with the bag, I actually don't think the Capucine is it. I think you'd be better off maybe buying like a trunk, especially with the price increases that you're seeing today. I definitely think that you can better use, you know, whatever you're going to spend on this, whether that's like 7,000 USD or 10,000 Singapore, on something else, especially if you're looking for a bag that is in a neutral color. If you're looking for something like in black, you can definitely get stuff like that in the resale market, whether that's in Fashion File or in Singapore through like small reseller or consignment shops. You know, you can get it for over half off in great condition. So honestly, the Capucine smallest size actually saw the biggest price increase in the United States, and honestly, I still don't think it's worth it. So I get that you're getting a lot of leather for the bag, and personally, I find the Capucine to be extremely heavy because it's all leather, and I just don't find it as practical. Especially the smallest size is very hard to get in and out of. So I'm just not a huge fan of this bag in general, and the price point is also something that just deters me from it altogether. So if you're someone who really loves the Capucine, I would just say consider getting it in the resale market instead, and try to find something that's in good condition, because I do also notice that the Capucine kind of wears down pretty easily when you get to the bigger sizes. So going on to a different leather type, so that is probably, you know, like it's empreinte leather or some sort of equivalent of like a high-end leather. This is Louis Vuitton's Epi Leather, which is also something I feel like has more history to the brand than this kind of leather with the Capucine. And in the sense that it's a very durable leather. It's pretty scratch resistant. I've used this in all types of weather and I've really enjoyed it. And this is, I believe, it's called something like a Louis Vuitton Buci. It's not as popular, I know, but I actually find this bag to be extremely practical. So it's probably like a Diane equivalent, where you have a back pocket, which I really love. You can put your phone in here, and you have a bunch of space to put stuff inside here. And it really is like a Diane equivalent, to be fair. And if it's something that you enjoy and you want something that just looks a little bit less vintage looking and more modern looking, I would definitely pick this up. And I definitely think it's worth it. And I just love Epi Leather in general. I think that it's really good. It's resistant to even changing in color. So when I got this bag, so this is definitely vintage. It might be almost as old as my Neverfull. They don't make this bag anymore. You can get this probably in the resale market for like about 700, 800 bucks. But I really liked it because, one, the Epi Leather in this bag has shown very little yellowing. For what it is, this is a white bag. You would expect it to yellow much more than it is now. And you really don't see it. I definitely think it looks still pretty white, and I just really love it. Because of the buckle and the long east-west design, I definitely think it can look very vintage 80s, although this was not purchased in the 80s. So I think that if you're looking for a color that you like, but you're always scared to wear, I think Epi Leather is a good choice. And if you're hoping to buy something at Louis Vuitton today, and it's an Epi Leather, I still think it's worth it. So those are my thoughts on general Louis Vuitton pieces. What do you guys think of the price increase? Are you still buying stuff? I think at the end of the day, whether something is worth it to you really depends on where you're at financially, as well as how much you think you're going to be using the bag. Because if you think it's your forever bag, I definitely still think it's worth it. At the end of the day, as long as it is a wise financial decision in terms of the fact that you have everything else covered, I don't see any harm in doing so. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!